Jeff, one way to compensate for the lack of depth at wide receiver, limit the number of wide receivers you need to use. And the Browns have a plethora of running backs, two-back set, and it would work really well with Jacoby Brissett. So they have the fullback wheel route, and we've seen Kareem Hunt play fullback that first year when he came in the middle of the year. And you see, there's nobody near the fullback. This is from the Kyle Shanahan system, really similar to what the Browns use. You want to load the box, two backs, and you use them in the passing game. And the Browns have guys that can catch the football as running backs. Do you think we see more of this? Haven't seen a lot of it in Kevin Stefanski's offense last year. Saw some of it in the first year. You think we see more of that?
Oh, isn't that beautiful? The fullback wheel route, and with Kareem Hunt and his speed and his receiving ability as the fullback, yeah, give me that. I want that. Give me more of that. I've long advocated that you put Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt in the backfield together and make the defense worry about it, because I think, you know, that if you're a linebacker, where are you, like, what, reading your keys when you've got those two dynamic running backs in the game as runners? Like that's going to pull your safeties up. That's going to make your linebackers fully attentive. You slide David Njoku on a post route right behind that. You know, there's a lot of different things you can do out of it. But I love the idea of doing the play action wheel route to the fullback with Kareem Hunt. That's a brilliant play. You saw it in the video there. The running back has to honor that run. And if you see the fullback, you know, selling it really well, if Hunt can sell the pass protection, like, oh, I'm gonna chip on this tight end here, or the defensive end. Kareem Hunt's good at that stuff. He's a great pass protecting guy. Like, they're going to buy that. That's the kind of things that you can do to manufacture good looks and an occasional big play. Now, you don't want to get too reliant on it, because then the defenses will sit on it. But that's when you hit him with Nick Chubb up the gut, running behind those guards and that offensive line. There are ways you can manage and mitigate not having more than one good wide receiver on the team. The teams do it all the time. I'll go back to the Houston Texans when they only had Andre Johnson, and they still found ways to get him the ball and move the ball creatively around that fullback. That was a Gary Kubiak as their coach and offensive guru. Same system as Shanahan. You see a lot of that. You see the fake screen pass one way to Chubb, and you throw it back the other way to Kareem Hunt on the other side with only one blocker in front of him. Your wide receivers can block. We have seen that the Browns wide receivers, they are good blockers. Donovan Peoples-Jones is a great blocker. They can utilize those types of skills and do things. Look, you don't have Jarvis Landry and OBJ anymore. You got to tailor your offense to what you've got. That's certainly a great way of doing it.
Yeah, and again, Kareem Hunt lined up as that fullback when he was the first year with the Browns, when he sat out the first several games. He can block.
Absolutely.
He can fill that role really well. All right, here's another one. And this one, again, out of the two-back set. And it kind of, what they do is they get the wide receiver to run all the way across the formation, and they complete it. That's with a guy like Amari Cooper. Even Donovan Peoples-Jones is a big body. It's a variation where you send Hunt down a seam, everybody's looking at him because you've done it before, and you run the wide receiver across. There are a number of things that you can do schematically with two backs. And again, you know, we've talked about it. I think Kevin Stefanski will probably use the two backs. Keep in mind, you've got D'Ernest Johnson as well as Jerome Ford. So you've got four guys. You can keep them fresh. And if you're going to keep all four of them, use them.
Yeah, if they're on your roster, make good use of them. If they're better than if your running back number 4 is better than your wide receiver number 4, maybe lean on the running backs a little bit more. I just looking at that play, like the Texans defense honestly played that pretty well. Like their safety was in position to make a play there. It's just there's so much going on that he can't make that play. Now that's a difficult throw. And that's a throw that I'm not sure that Jacoby Brissett can do, that particular one. But you can do variations out of that. You can throw that ball quicker and catch him before he's going across. If the safety creeps up on the play action, then you've got it right behind him. You know, that's one of those where the wide receiver has to read it. I trust Amari Cooper to read where he needs to go on that route. And hopefully Jacoby Brissett and he are on the same page. But you can do a lot of things out of that. Yeah, it's a great concept. I really do hope that we see a lot more of the two-back sets, and you can split them. Have the split shotgun. You don't necessarily have to have it in the standard I formation or one guy offset. There's a lot of different ways that you can roll with it, and I hope we see a lot of it this year because the Browns have the personnel to pull it off and do things that defenses don't normally see. That is not something that defenses can practice against. You look around like, do the Bengals can they do that? Can the Steelers replicate that in practice? Heck no. Use that. That's an asset.
Yeah, and it's similar to the thought, one of the reasons the Ravens are so effective is nobody can replicate what they do offensively with Lamar Jackson. Well, nobody can replicate the backs that the Browns have. So I'm with you. The other thing you mentioned is you have the ability to split out your tight ends. Your tight ends are athletic enough that if you can get formations where you have man coverage and you get them on a man cut. If it's a linebacker, they're going to be too slow for both Harrison Bryant and for David Njoku. If they're a safety, they're too small for both of them. So, when we say get creative, that's what we need to see with Jacoby Brissett as the quarterback.
Oh, 100%. Play to your strengths. Play to what your good players do well. That's good coaching. I still believe Kevin Stefanski is a pretty darn good football coach. Didn't have his best year last year, but he's poised for a bounce back year, and that is absolutely one way that you can do that. And you'll see why he was the coach of the year as a rookie head coach back in 2020.